Well, your Giants are in my state of Michigan, taking on my Tigers, and lost in glorious fashion to a 3-run homer by Nick Maton. Or Maton. I never know how to
Yes,
pronounce his.
which was courtesy of our third baseman playing second base, because our second baseman Estrada was moved to the outfield because he had apparently played some outfield, so he was the most suitable guy to fill in for four guys who were out. And Villard decides he's going to try to throw the guy out at third versus taking the out at first, and then the Giants win the game because the next two batters striked out for the fucking Tigers.
We're done. By the way, you said you were done with the Giant segment.
Well,
So
you brought it up. All right, now I'm done.
Yeah, I brought it up a lot via text last night. I was taunting you and your alerts that you get on your watch. I was making sure that you got the alert that the Tigers had indeed won in walk-off fashion in extra innings. That is now a 2-game winning streak for the once worst team in baseball, the Detroit Tigers. I was on Sox Type thing on Thursday. I was kind of teasing this when we get to the power ranking segment that we were definitely going to rank the Tigers as the worst team at that point. They were 2-9. They are now 4-9. So they are not the worst team in baseball anymore. We'll get to that.
They're almost as good as the White Sox. They're a game out.
Half a game behind the White Sox, which is kind of amazing. Tigers won the final game in Toronto, and of course won last night. So Toronto, I picked them to win the World Series, so that's a pretty big win to win in Toronto. That was definitely a highlight after a series and certainly a season of mostly lowlights. And that win came after some of the worst base running and some of the least or the most lifeless teams I've ever seen play baseball, with the Tigers making just boneheaded base running errors where it just looked like they were not paying attention, just were totally checked out. Well, I'll get to Javi, but the night before the biggest incident of the Tiger season so far, Eric Haas was on second base, ran on a ground ball in front of him, tried to get to third, which is just the most basic fundamental. You don't run when the ball's hit in front of you to third, and they easily threw him out, only to be followed up by Matt Vierling trying to steal second and didn't bother sliding. He was tagged out standing at second base. And I've never seen anything like that. Post-game,
right there, man.
The post-game interview with, I specifically stayed up to watch that with AJ Hinch, and hopefully they would interview Verling as well to figure out what the fuck he was thinking. AJ Hinch talked about it and said the exact same thing I was thinking. He's like, I've never seen that before. You'll have to ask him why he didn't slide. So it was clear that there are issues with effort and concentration with the Tigers, leading to how shitty they've been.
So I kind of got an asshole, I guess, question in regards to that.
Impromptu asshole question.
Yeah, well, it just kind of percolated in my head while you were talking about all these miscues, and we didn't even get to the Javi miscue yet.
We'll get there.
But this has been an ongoing thing for the Tigers since AJ Hinch has been manager. So who is responsible? Because I know on the other podcast we were both very much to blame the La Russa and his coaching staff for the White Sox miscues. So are you doing the same thing for the Tigers organization, or are you a bit of a hypocrite in this?
I'm a hypocrite. By the way, I do blame your general manager on the White Sox as well for many of the issues you have with the roster construction.
Bullpen.
Yeah, well,
we'll get to that.
That is a perfect asshole question. Should I hold AJ Hinch as accountable? It's a mixed bag. I think he does need to be held accountable. I also think it's a strange mix of talent and lack thereof on this Tigers roster that was essentially assembled by the incompetent Al Avila. So
well, that's fair.
I have consistently put most of the blame on Al Avila, and I will continue to do that. But that doesn't mean that AJ Hinch can just skate free. If But that's a great question for right now, considering there are concentration issues that are very obvious. And that is something a manager definitely is responsible for. He has to have his team motivated and ready to fucking play every night. And that was not the case. I think this part of the slow start could definitely be blamed on AJ Hinch. But I think he's taking action to correct that, as at least in the last 2 games, when he saw Javier Báez first thinking he had a home run, didn't run out of the box in Toronto. When the ball hit off the top of the wall, he had to scramble. He did get to second base, fortunately, but
extra effort for that though.
Yeah. So that's always annoying, and that's something Javi has consistently done throughout his career, is admire his handiwork, and oftentimes looks ridiculous and should be embarrassed that he was watching a ball hit off the wall that didn't actually go out of the ballpark, but just fucking run. One time he did choose to run then from second base was when he thought there were 2 outs and there was only one out in the inning. Inexplicably running to third on a pop out and thus being doubled off. AJ Hinch subsequently benched Javier Báez. You and I were actually recording Sox Type Thing that Thursday night when that was all happening. As soon as we got done, I looked over the TV and I could tell something was happening. I think they were showing a replay, or it was just happening where you could see AJ and Javi going down the tunnel, and then AJ came out looking pretty fucking pissed off. And then finally, Javi came back out to get his shit, but he basically was throwing stuff around, looking very displeased, which he's pulled from a game and benched. The manager publicly embarrassed him for his publicly embarrassing behavior on the base path. So that, I mean, to further answer your asshole question, yes, I think AJ Hinch is to blame, but I think he's also taking measures to correct that. And the last 2 nights, they've won games. So, I mean, that's hard to.
Wow, that's going
to be an ongoing question.
Small sample size there.
Yeah, that is the definition of small sample size, but it works in my favor. Somebody use it there. But
I've got to credit you. You might have a future in politics.
You like how I answered that one?
Yeah, never. The bullshit is knee high over here.
Well, the world is neither black nor white. It's all shades of gray. So you like to have yes or no answers, but I think that's not how the world works. But
well, I mean, I just bit of a song and dance there.
Yeah.
Bojangles. So
well, get used to it. This is how I do it.
Continue on, Bojangles.
Word Hole Media.